Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to what is the sixth installment of ROVE Tech Talks. My name is Mark Trojanowski, Principal Solutions Architect and Security Lead for ROVE. Today, we will be discussing part two of the Cisco Umbrella product or solution. In my first installment, we discussed what is Umbrella and some of its components. Today, we will be walking through some of the Umbrella dashboard and some of the configuration parameters and features. But first, for those who missed the first session, let's just do a 10,000 foot view of what is Umbrella. So Umbrella is a cloud-delivered security service. Protects your employees even when they're off-net or off their VPN or any Connect client. No additional agents are required for Umbrella. Simply enable the Umbrella functionality, again, either with the client itself, if you choose to load the client, or the Cisco AnyConnect client, again, if they're off-net. You will get seamless protection against malware, phishing, ransomware, and command and control callbacks wherever your users go, again, whether they're on-net, off-net, regardless. It is really the first line of defense against threats. So Cisco Umbrella is built into the foundation of the internet and blocks requests to malicious, unwanted destinations before a connection is even established. Again, without adding any latency. So stop threats over any port before they reach your network and your endpoints. Visibility and protection everywhere. So your users and apps have left the perimeter. Cisco Umbrella provides the visibility needed to protect internet access across all devices on your network, all office locations, and for your roaming users. Enterprise-wide deployment in minutes, again, a very easy solution to deploy and configure. So Cisco Umbrella is the simplest security product to deploy. You can start protecting users across your organization literally in minutes. It's powerful, effective security without really typical operational complexity that you've seen in other platforms. By performing everything in the cloud with 100% uptime, again, no hardware is required to install and no software to manually update. Really the intelligence to see attacks before they launch. So we see the relationship between malware, domains, IPs, and networks across the internet. Similar to Amazon learning from shopping patterns to suggest the next purchase, Cisco Umbrella learns from internet activity patterns to automatically identify attacker infrastructure being staged for really the next threat. And then lastly, integrations to amplify existing investments. So obviously there's a huge investment within a security platform. It is easily integrated into Cisco Umbrella with your existing security stack and local intelligence. So leveraging open APIs, you can programmatically extend protection for devices and locations beyond just your perimeter and really enrich your incident response data. So let's go in and take a look at what the dashboard looks like. So here we have really the main screen. So we'll cover some of these, again, with the overview, identities, policies, reporting, some of the settings, and a touch on the investigate portion of it. So again, this demonstration is really a high-level overview. Again, we're going to cover this in about 20 minutes or so. And again, it's going to be an emphasis in showing its simplicity and really the automated effective solution it provides. The user interface and various features of the Umbrella environment. We will walk through an overview of the Umbrella environment. Areas that we'll try to cover here will include the security overview dashboard, provisioning networks, provisioning some of the roaming computer capabilities, security activity, destination reports, a portion of the investigate console, identities reports, some of the integrations, and the policy settings. So let's start with some of the reporting capabilities. So we'll go into the security overview. And again, you can see just by looking at it pretty easily to decipher what you're actually looking at. So you look at all the requests of what's being sent out, all the block requests, and then all the security blocks. And we can scroll down to some of the security activity. And again, this could be based on just for the last hour, last 24 hours, some of yesterday's reports, etc. And as actually we dig down into some of these security events, you can see here that for this captures the most or latest security blocks. So we can do this by destination, by identity, or by type. So if we look at destination, this is typically, and you'll see only really the URLs here, but typically, or the domains, you could actually look at those and can be blocked by domain name, IP address, or the URL path. Blocked identities can be by a network, a specific device, or an AD user, and block types can be a domain or a URL. So again, very detailed with the information that it's providing. So if we talk about our deployments, again, there's three different deployment options, or at least from you're looking at it here, is your active networks, your active roaming clients, and then your active virtual appliances. So if we look at the actual networks, you can see that we only have currently one network defined. And again, that is a configuration that we provide, and in this case, it is just a network defined, and it's actually the outside interface of whatever device that they have, whether they're NATing on that device or not, typically a firewall or an edge router. Now, how we actually go into that, we look at our internal networks. And this is where we actually define more of a granularity. So with just the networks, we're actually looking at the outside interface or the public-facing address. For us to actually get visibility and add granularity, we can optionally deploy a virtual appliance, or we can do an AD, but really the virtual appliance to forward internal networks and really get that user identities embedded within the DNS traffic that you have being sent out. So if we look at just the configuration there of, for instance, here, consultants, we just define really an address range, and what that will allow us to do is get visibility into those internal users to provide IP addresses and actual usernames as well. So again, we can do this one of two ways, either defining it with a virtual appliance or actually integrate it with a current AD infrastructure. Another option is to look at roaming computers. So as you can see here, we can dig into roaming computers, and again, these can be defined a couple different ways. But again, what this allows you to do is actually look on roaming computers on your corporate network, either at all your office locations with direct internet access, or actually when they're on the road or at home. So we can actually look at some of the downloads for those, as we said, it isn't required to have another software download, but there is an umbrella client that you can run. So you have a couple different capabilities. So you have the roaming client, which entails really one of three options here, which is the Windows client, which can run on several different Windows platforms, 7, 8, 8.1, and 10. And then you have the Mac OS client. And then lastly, you have, if you're currently running AnyConnect within your environments for VPN termination or AMP deployments, you can also add the AnyConnect umbrella roaming security module on top of that AnyConnect client. So going back to some of the reporting capabilities, you can dig down to some of the security and then actually look at the security activity. So depending on if we have a specific client or a specific event that we know occurred, we can either look for that specific event or occurrence and be able to call out that specific user interaction. And what we can do is either, again, looking at it, besides extending that coverage off network and provisioning roaming computers, that also adds the host name, username, internal IP, really to help expedite the remediation here. So if I look at all activity, and I can look at an activity search here, and you can see I can filter by really specific categories, whether it be response, a specific protocol. Again, we can go down by identity type. So again, we can categorize by computer name or username, a network device, a network or site. We also have security categories. So again, if we're just really looking at phishing attempts or malware, we can certainly categorize that, apply the filter, and it will quickly filter out everything except for anything that's associated with a malware attempt. Again, we can dig in even further by looking at the destination. And we could do this over a period of time as well. So we'll look for the last 30 days. We'll see if there's any allowed or blocked within that traffic. And in this case, on that specific, I believe it was a permitted destination. So we can go back to the security overview. And again, we can do all requests, all block requests, and also security blocks. So if we go back down to an activity search, and we'll see if we can look at blocked responses. And we can actually look at the destination again of a blocked site. So let's see. We can look at the total allowed and blocked traffic behavior. And then we can actually go over to investigate, which is the added on component, to dig into really some of the components of that site. So you can see here that the domain is currently in the umbrella block list. So we have gone in there and manually added it to the block list. And we can get specific information about that site. So as you can see here, associated domains, which typically indicates that it is a malware-associated site, the name servers that it's associated to, and then we can actually go back into even further information, contacts, the address of the location of where it's actually being registered. So again, it gives you quite a bit of granularity and detail down to actually associating it with some security parameters. You can also look at, if we go back to destinations, and again, we go back to security activity, and we'll go back to activity search, and we can search by, again, we'll select another destination. And we'll do for the last 30 days. You can see the amount of blocks, but we could also look at the global traffic percentage. And really, that can infer whether the attack may be more targeted or opportunistic, which, again, enables kind of your investigation and be able to better prioritize your investigations. So again, we go back to view the destinations. Go back to security activity. Again, we'll see if we have it here on this one, but we can actually look at associated risk if we go back into the investigate. And again, you can see the name servers. In this case, we don't have any related domains, but typically you can have either the related domains or actually we'll get a threat score on here as well, depending on the domain itself. So if we go back to destinations again, one more time. Could also look at the identities. We can go to the destinations, and then we could also look at the access and policy details. So if we take a look at the, let's see, New York office, you can see all the requests, and again, associating it to a specific network or different office location. And I can just view all the destinations. Actually, let me go back to destinations here. And I can look at top donations, destinations as well. So we'll go back to identities. Look at the default site. And then look at settings to be able to set some of those locations up. So go back to settings. And we look at some of the integrations. You could see that we also, as I mentioned earlier, the ability to integrate with third-party platforms. So again, you see a couple of them out there that are very common: Alien Vault for SIM, Checkpoint, obviously Cisco AMP, you have Palo Alto on there, FireEye, and ThreatIQ. So some very notable third-party products that you can integrate with that provides, some additional details. So again, leveraging the API interface that we have or what Cisco has, you can integrate Umbrella with the other products very quickly. Create your own custom integration with simple scripts. These integrations enable you to convert really the local intelligence into a global prevention within seconds. So let's look at some of the policies that you can define within the dashboard itself. So if we look at policies, we go on the policy list. These are some of the predefined or some that were custom defined within the platform. So we could take a look at executive policy for no web filtering. So there's a couple components in there that we could take a look at. So we can limit some of the content. So if we look at edit, you see we have the ability to do, again, kind of a custom script, or we can do kind of a predetermined or pre-built content access list. So you can look at high, moderate, and low. Again, customization allows you to select any of the different categories that you want to block at your own need. So then some of the integrations, we could also use that below here as well. And then we also have, so some of the security integrations. So let's see, as I said there, we can edit those. Again, I can add in malware, and we can do some of the other integrations. Again, either with Checkpoint, FireEye, some of the other platforms that we looked at previously. Again, all with the APIs or, again, automated through here. And then also if we look at the advanced configurations, we can look at doing some of the other capabilities, so whether it be intelligent proxy, IP layer enforcement. Again, that gives you the visibility into threats that bypass DNS lookups for specific IP addresses. Again, this is only available on the roaming computer with that integration. And then lastly, within the inspection here, you can do, again, on here you have this as well, file inspection, which gives you, again, that visibility specifically for those users that are off-net. So as you can see, there is quite a bit of detail that you can configure here. Again, we covered just kind of at a high level some of those components to really set this up in literally minutes. And then once you have it enabled within your network, you have the ability to detail and actually kind of really use a lot of the knobs that you have to really tighten down that security, but a lot of flexibility and integration into those third-party products as well. So really that concludes this session on Umbrella. Again, appreciate you for attending. Please don't hesitate reaching out to myself or the ROVE team on this, whether it be specific to Umbrella or really any other technical solutions you guys might be working on or have questions on. Again, thank you very much, and have a great rest of your day.